Hello everybody, RegiTime here, and today we're going to be looking at 5 hands that I played over the weekend. We're actually looking at them in the wrong order, so we'll look at them chronologically. We're going to be looking at 5 hands I played over a pretty wild Saturday night session on Sky Poker. Before we do that, I just want to, first of all, thank you for your continued support watching the channel. Thank you for your support regarding Sky's decision to ask me to stop using their intellectual property for making videos. I've had a telephone conversation with someone from Sky today. They confirmed they've asked me to not make any more videos using their intellectual property. By that they mean images of the videos of their tables, and they're using like actual player names. I'm not impressed with the decision. We had a conversation. It was very pleasant, very cordial. We exchanged our points of view. Clearly they're in the position of strength because they can just say, "Oi Reggie, stop you fucking dickhead," or "We'll shut your account," and there's fuck all I can do about it. There's literally nothing I can do. You know, they just have they have all the power in this situation. I think they made a bad decision. I think they could have handled it better by just getting in touch with me, asking me to just tone it down a little bit. I probably wouldn't have done that, but you know, at least it would have given me the option to tone it down. It came about because someone, they didn't tell me who of course, but someone complained about seeing their screen name on YouTube and their betting styles on YouTube being exposed. So they got in touch and complained. I think there was also other complaints about my use of language, etc. People are dicks, aren't they? You know, I mean, if you're going to get offended by something you hear a dickhead like me say on YouTube, then, you know, you probably shouldn't go out of the front door, you know. And I'm going to name check some people here because I think they're dicks. Mumsy on Sky, prime example. Fucking one of these proper fucking who knows what, but gets offended by fucking everything types of people. Sure, you know, they've needled me in the chat. I've said some things on YouTube about them. Fuck it, you know, I don't understand why you would cause offence. Yeah, I get that you don't like hearing things said about yourself, you know, and what have you. I've never gone out of line against this person. I'm presuming it's a woman, but it might be a bloke. I don't know. I mean, I get tons and tons of stickers. We all do in the workplace, at home, in our sports teams. You know, if you can't handle a little bit of someone say, "Hey, you guess what? I think you're a dick," then fucking hell, life's going to be a challenge for you, isn't it? You know, do I need to do the things I do? No, I don't. Do I think they hurt anybody? No. I mean, yeah, they maybe piss Mumsy off a little bit in particular, or fucking another one, that Jack35, who seems to be another real fucking snowflake type. Probably fucking, you know, get offended if they see a bit of fucking dog shit in the road or whatever. I don't know. Of course, offence is in like the eye of the beholder. If I've offended them, then so be it. But fuck me, get over it. Jesus Christ. If we all started like throwing our dummies out and complaining about every time someone said something we didn't like, well, fuck me. I mean, the world's a sanitised enough place as it is. I'm a liberal left-winger. But at the same time, you know, I think the problem that the left's had down the years, it's gone too PC and it pisses a lot of people off, and it creates a lot of the situation we're in now. I don't want to go all political, but I think the fucking PC brigade, there's nothing wrong with being like polite, courteous and respectful, and absolutely like frowning down and bearing down on things like racism, sexism, homophobia, all of those things where people are genuinely discriminated against. That's really good to do that. But if you're going to start like controlling what words people can use, and every time someone says something that's slightly going to offend you, you're going to jump out of your fucking pram, well, just get the fuck, stay out of my fucking orbit, because I've no interest. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of like satirists like Jonathan Pye, like Frankie Boyle, Jim Jeffries. They're all saying the same things, you know. They're all very deep, caring people. They give a shit, but at the same time, they enjoy the comedy of being offensive. I'm not trying to be comedic when I do stuff. I'm just being me. Yeah, I offend some people. But that's not going to change. If you are watching this, Mumsy, Jack35 and a couple of others, just whatever, just stop fucking watching. That's the easiest way to not be offended by me. Stop fucking watching. Anyway, yeah, that's all done. So forget all that shit. It's happened. I'm not going to go out of my way to change my style. I'm going to be using this software going forward to review hands that I've played. And yeah, if I get the opportunity to still troll some of the dicks that play on Sky, if I get the opportunity, if I get a hand against them, if I crush them in a pot or what have you, I'm going to 100% guarantee take that opportunity to stick the fucking needle in. And if they don't like it, well, you know, maybe just go and find a soft play area somewhere and sitting there rocking, you know, thinking what a horrible fucking place the world is. So yeah, that's done now. It's a 5-minute rant on that. So yeah, going forward, we're going to respect Sky's decision to not use their intellectual property, but there's pretty much nothing they can do. I explained to them that I was going to use this software to make my videos going forward. I said I wouldn't use player names, which I won't do. Although there might be some creative use of player names sometimes if I particularly want to troll somebody, and I won't use like their actual software to show things. So therefore I'm not putting Sky in a bad light from their point of view, but I'm still able to do the kind of things that I want to be doing. So yeah, if you've liked my content so far, if you like it, if you want to see more of this going forward, please do hit the like button, hit the comments, share my content, etc. I have a niche audience, I get that. I'm never going to be the next fucking Jason Somerville. I don't want to be either. If I get to do this, we create a fun little environment, a fun little community, and occasionally some of you guys come to me and say, you know what, Reggie, I won't mind some help with my game, then that's it, the channel's doing its job. So anyway, all that out of the way, let's crack on with these hands. So this first hand we're 3-handed at a 20-nil table, around 150 blinds deep. This player here, I butchered these first 2 hands and was putting them in. I didn't put my opponent's whole cards in, but I do recall what they were. So yeah, this first hand, button folds, a player that I had tagged as being like pretty aggressive, probably a fish, 4x's. We 3-bet to 280. I think we could have made this bigger actually, given it 4x. I think we could have gone to 320 and still got plenty of calls by words. If we get 4-bet, depending on size, we're either going to call or fold. I wouldn't intend to get 150 bigs in pre with ace queen. If he was to 4-bet here to like 5 something, I probably would have called and taken a flop. But he just calls. And we get a kind of a good flop, bad flop. I mean, it's not good for our range. He can have all kinds of things on this board, but we do have 2 overs and a gut shot against like pretty bad aggressive fish here. It's not a nice situation. We bet this flop. He can raise us with a wide range of hands, draws, 2 pairs, top pairs, under pairs maybe, fuck knows, who knows. I don't really want to be like reopening the bet into this dude here. I think we're against his range here, we're probably not doing great. I think he's going to have a lot of stuff that connects with this in some way, or that was ahead of us pre-flop that isn't going to fold. So I think that just checking back here, taking like a conservative route, trying to get to cheap showdown, if we don't improve, is the best way to go. Alright, so the hand is bugged out, one moment. So we turn the straight with the jack. And opponent now bets £2.60. We raised to 720. I think we could have raised more here, given there's like, you know, by the time we called, it's going to be £9 in the pot on this very dynamic board. He can absolutely have sets, 2 pairs, etc. I think my raise is a little bit too small here. It doesn't prevent us jamming the river on bricks, because if he does call, there's going to be like, what, 20 in the pot, 19 behind. But I'd rather send us make this bigger, like raise it up to like £9-10, and then leave us with a really comfortable river jam on boards we want to jam on rivers that we do want to jam on. Our opponent calls. The river is a 4 of hearts, and he now leads into us for half pot. So I think we're either chopping or losing a decent amount of the time. I think we're losing to some flushes, chopping with some straights, losing to king queen. It's just not a nice situation really. You know, there's lots of ways we can lose or chop here, and not that many ways that we win the entire pot. I guess if we just have like 7x, we get to win the pot. If it's got like 7-6 or something like that, or 10-7-9. I guess there's some combination of 7x he can have, but why would he lead the river? His bet called the turn with like the low end of the straight. Why would he then lead the river on the heart? I wasn't a huge fan of the situation, but against this particular player, I think we just need to call here and just like, we're getting reasonable odds, you know, even if we're chopping. I mean, we're calling 980 to maybe just get £15 back at this point. But or whatever, so it's not a really enticing situation, but I don't think we can fold. So we did make the call, and our opponent we don't see it there. But he showed the ace-7 of hearts. So yeah, it's a bit dicey. I mean, I guess we can raise more on the turn but we lose more. I'm not sure about that. I think the river's it can't be a fold. It's just one of those like real crying calls where you know you kind of fucked. But against this player type, it's just a fold. It's just a call. Against some other players, I could maybe think about folding, but not many. It's just one of those unfortunate situations where an opponent's got there on the river, and there's not really very much that we can do about it. Obviously, we'd have loved to have seen the king or what have you come. It's annoying, but this is what happens when you're playing games against like really live, wild players. And you know, you're going to see lots of stuff. You're going to play lots of big pots with sometimes hands that you wouldn't necessarily want to play big pots with. This wouldn't be one of them. On the river, it become a situation where I don't like it, but at the same time, if we fold this here, well, it means we're only calling with like flushes, and yeah, I think we just need to call down there. Maybe the hand isn't as interesting as the first thought, but yeah, I think the mistake I made really wasn't the call on the river. I think the mistake I made was not raising more on the turn, on a board where he can have all kinds of like 2 pairs, flush draws, sets and things. I think my turn raise was way too small. Ultimately, it would have cost me more money because the pot would have been bigger on the river and we would have had to call. But that's playing results. I think we should definitely have made that turn raise much bigger there. Up towards £10 would have been a much better sizing, I think. Next hand here we have Mr. Check Raise in the big blind. We'd been playing for a short while now. I think I'd raised and c-bet twice already versus him, and both times he had check raised me. So that's like the preamble to this hand, if you will. So we raise course on the button, and opponent calls. We flop the nuts. We bet really small here because of our read that he is prone to check raising. It's such a dry board. It's like, what on earth can he check raise with here? If he hadn't been the type to check raise a lot, I would just have checked back here. I mean, it's the driest board in the history of dry boards. You don't get a more dry board than King 7 Deuce Rainbow. It is the absolute picture book of dry boards. If you ever describe a dry board, King 7 Deuce Rainbow is how you're going to do it. So normally there's not a chance I would see bet here. It's just like whatever. We just against a regular maybe, but not against a fish like this guy was. We just check back, hope he catches something, and what have you, and bet turn river or call or raise or whatever. But yeah, but because he's check raised twice already, I had to give him the opportunity to check raise. I bet as small as a dare, and we did induce a very small check raise. At this point, just calling's the obvious play. He doesn't have a king very often because there's one king left in the deck. If he does have a set of 7s or deuces, we're going to get all the money anyway, so it's not a major issue. We just call here just to allow him to like do his thing if he's up to no good. Turn is the queen of clubs. He instantly, well not instantly, but he bet pretty quick, full pot. So now I'm just praying. I hope I'm not praying because I'm an atheist, but I'm hoping, right, please have deuces, please have 7s, whatever. Please have kings, queen 7 or the remaining king 7 or whatever. And again, there's just no reason to raise here. Yes, some draws have appeared on the turn. 10 jacks now a draw. Clubs are now a draw. Ace jack, ace 10, that type of thing. But whatever. If he's got one of those hands and he gets there, then he's just going to get all my money. I'm not going to overreact to things like that. We're just going to call here and allow him to continue doing whatever it is he's doing. River's like a complete break. He goes all in. We have the easiest call in the history of time, and I'm not sure if this hand's going to show up here. I don't think I plumbed it in, if I remember correctly, which is annoying. He actually turned up with the ace 5 offsuit here, so that's just really important thing to like take notes and be aware of game flow. This isn't a very interesting hand. We've flopped top set, we've stacked a fish, but I think that the takeaway from it is to like be aware of what's happening at your tables. If people are doing a certain thing a lot that can be exploited, then give them a chance to exploit. Normally, like we flop top set on the dry board, you know, it's a check back nearly all of the time. But if you've got somebody who's check raised you 2 out of 2 times, then you have to give them a chance to do it again. I mean, if he just folds, then he folds. It just means he doesn't have anything, and we were never going to win any money anyway. So I think this is like a good example of how to deviate from your completely standard lines to try and specifically target a leak that you think a player has is a good thing to do. It's all well and good to try and play like a balanced GTO strategy. I try and be somewhat balanced. I'm not into GTO. I can't be asked studying it. It seems like a lot of fucking effort, and to be honest, I haven't got the time or the inclination. But I understand balance. I try to be balanced, but at the same time, if there's someone doing something that's very easy to exploit, it's your job to go out there and exploit these people. I get lots of criticism for being like a really, really fastidious bum hunter. I'm massively into like game selection. You will never see me in a bad game on Sky. You know, I've seen other regulars that will join my tables just because they know it has to be a fucking good one. I've had them comment several times. You very rarely see me playing a game with... The only time I play a game with 3 other eggs and 2 fish is if the 2 fish are fucking massive whales, or if they've got a lot of money in front of them. I mean, I've left tables with 2 fish, 3 regulars, where the fish have had like only a buying combined between them. To me, that isn't a good game. I think there's lots of games on Sky that run around 1 fish, like 5 regulars, 1 fish. They think they're in a good game because there's 1 fish. They're not in a good game. You know, they're playing these tables, they're playing... All these guys are fighting over this 1 fish, paying a fucking ton of rake for the pleasure, whilst I'm away at 2 or 3 other tables, playing heads up, playing 3-handed against 2 fish. They get it all wrong. They continue to get it all wrong. And I think this is why I make an absolute ton of money on Sky without really putting anywhere near the same amount of effort in. There are lots of guys who are probably just as good at poker as I am from a theoretical standpoint and work a lot harder than me. I probably make more money than lots of those players just because I'm getting it right in the game selection front, and I'm getting it right in terms of playing so few tables. I can completely pay attention to everything that's going on in the game and find ways to exploit these fish much quicker because I'm seeing everything. I'm not playing 6, 8, 10, 12 tables when I'm only really seeing hands that I'm involved in. I'm seeing absolutely everything at every table I'm at, and you know, I think it helps me have an absolute crushing win rate. I have no idea what my win rate is, of course, but I know this month, for example, we set a goal of playing 80 hours and making £600. I've already crashed through that. I've made like £750 already this month, and I've only played something like maybe 50 odd hours. I can't remember exactly. My hourly rate's about like £13 an hour, and that's when I barely ever do more than 2 or 3 tables. I mean, my methods, they get a bit of criticism, but they just work, and more of you guys should really follow them. Although don't come and do it on Sky and take all my easy money from me. So yeah, that's that little ramble out of the way. Let's move on to the next hand. We have 2 jacks here. Now we have a weakness opening, and we have a passive whale in this hand too. It's a 10-20 hand. We are like 125 blinds deep with what's going to be the main protagonist in the hand, the main villain. So weakness opens to 3 bigs. Passive whale calls. I mean, this guy's playing literally at least 3/4 of the hands he's dealt into, possibly more. Very rarely raises pre-flop, almost never 3 bets. You know, it's just an ATM basically. We put a really chunky squeeze in up to 16 big blinds. We're out of position. We want to try and like force this weakness out of the pot with all, but I mean, obviously he's not going to fold aces, kings, queens, or ace king, but anything else, force him out of the pot, get heads up with the whale, and hopefully win a big pot versus like a very weak range. That's the plan here. The weakness does get out of the way. The passive whale does call. We flop the nuts again. What a surprise. That's 2 hands in a row. We flop top set versus a bad player. Go us. That's how we do it here at fucking RegiTime Poker. We lead out here for £4.40. Passive whale calls tons and tons and tons of hands he can hear. He can have the case jack, he can just have a 5, he can just have a 6, he can have flush draws, straight draws. Who knows what, you know, I mean, this guy can serve anything. I think if he's just got hands like ace, 10, etc., he just folds all them now, king, queen, and things like that. So I think this suggests he probably should have something. But clearly we've got top sets, so we're happy days. Turns a really pretty bad card. It's a 7. I mean, you know, he does, if he's got a flush, he's got there now. Some straights get there, like the 8 and 9, although it's not that likely. 4-3, which he can probably have, gets there. But he can also have tons of 2 pairs and things. I still think we're way ahead of his range here. We just have, I probably should have bet a bit more on the flop to make a really easy turn jam. But I jammed anyway. An opponent called, which was alarming, and then he just turned up with the 10-8 of diamonds, which was... I have no idea what the fuck is happening on that flop. Maybe the flop was a misclick, I don't know. Maybe he didn't mean to call a flop. I have absolutely no idea. I think he said in the chat later on, I'd gone for a beer or something. I mean, you don't have enough time to go. I mean, unless his fridge is literally fucking like 2 meters from his chair. I'm not sure what was going on there. His flop call is like clearly fucking absurd. And then he turns the open ender, and yeah, he's just not getting away from his open ender. And we get to win a juicy pot against a hand that should never have been in. It should never have been after the flop. He should never have been in there. But yeah, just goes to show again the virtues of game selecting and the virtues of still playing poker at 3:30 AM on a Saturday morning when most good boys and girls are in bed. Next hand here, we have a tight regular. I'm pretty familiar with the game. She's a player that's made some good progress. She's come from 10-L, 20-L. She's now playing some 30-L. She's definitely on an upward trajectory. I think she's a good player in this hand. And then we have like a really aggressive, well-known regular. Gives tons and tons of action. Again, we're not going to use player names, but if you think of a drug that people are wanting legalizing, and then use its like slang name for it, and add a G on the end of it, then you'll know who he is. You know, he creates good action. I mean, you know, you can argue about the merits of his play, but he's an action player. He goes through tons of swings. He's always fun to have at the table. It's a tight regular. Bear in mind we have quite deep here. We're like over 150 blinds deep. Tight regular opens under the gun, or middle position, sorry. Aggressive regular calls, and this is the first decision point. Should we squeeze here? Should we just call? I think we're ahead of, well, maybe not ahead of the like small blinds range, but we're doing very well against it with a hand like King Jack. I think if he has stuff like Ace King, Ace Queen, Ace Jack, Pocket Kings, King Queen, I think he's going to 3-bet them with like a pretty decent frequency. Maybe not King Queen, but the rest for sure he's going to 3-bet. He 3-bets a lot, this player. So we can definitely squeeze here and just hope to get 2 folds, take down the pot, or go to the flop with like a very playable hand. But this player is really quite tight. I'm not sure what her ranges look like early middle position, but they're not going to be shit. You know, she's going to have quite a lot of folds, I would imagine, and some calls, like with pocket pairs like lower than probably like jacks, queens, maybe she 4-bets queens, I'm not sure, maybe not this deep. So yeah, she's going to be in position. She's going to have a strong range that she calls with. We don't want to get 4-bet, of course. So I think overall, I think just going with the call and looking to play a post flop with a hand that's going to flop pretty well. He's the best player. We flop top pair. She bets like half pot. This guy calls. So all of a sudden, like we flop top pair. So like, oh boom, top pair, happy days. Let's go. Not let's go and get all the money in, but let's play some poker. And then the tight regular C bets and the aggressive regular call. So all of a sudden, like King Jack is now starting to go down in value. It still has to be a call, of course, but you know, against both of these players, you know, what kind of shape are we in? Are we in good shape? Are we not in good shape? It's hard to say. The tight regular can have like aces for sure, queens, eights. They can have ace king, pocket king. They have the case kings. They can have all of these things, and they can have some strong draws too that have good equity against us. So against like the tight regulars range, I think we have to have a call here, but we're not super excited about it, and I think we're probably way ahead of like the small blind by now. So we call. Turn, really good card for us. We turn the king. Check again to the tight regular, who now bets like just under half pot. And at this point, we have trips, but I think our hand is like just a bluff catcher by this point. I mean, the only worst hands I can see this player doing this with is King 10 suited, which is like what one combo of that, and that's going to be diamonds. So you're going to have king. I think like the only king she can really probably have is King 10 of diamonds, which obviously we're ahead of, but has a fucking ton of equity against us with like the diamonds, etc. and maybe like ace jack diamonds, ace 10 diamonds. So there are some like flush draws you can have, like 9 jack diamonds. There's some like flush draws you can have from like maybe 6, 7 of diamonds through to all the other potential flushes right out there. So our hand's still too strong to fold because this player does still definitely have some bluffs in there. But it's starting to get just a little bit dicey, because when you c-bet flops, you get called by 2 regulars in these spots, and then the turn pairs the top card and someone bets into 2 players again. They're not fucking around to you. They haven't got ace queen here, for example. They haven't got pocket jacks. They haven't got any of those things. They've basically got king jack crushed, or they've got a hand that's got a fucking ton of equity against king jack. So even though we have, like, in absolute terms, we have a strong hand because we have 3 kings, in relative to the situation, to our opponent's range, I don't think our hand's like super strong at this point. So we call. River is a 10 of diamonds, which puts everything there. Now if she was bluffing, then she's got there. She can't have the king 10 of diamonds now, of course, but we check. She bets £3, and I actually remember typing in the chat box, "This is fucking grim. I've got king jack here. I fucking hate my life. I hate my life, but I hate the situation, etc., etc." Eventually, I timed down, got a bit like, "Oh, it's such a small bet," but I just couldn't think of like any bluffs at this point. The diamonds have got there. The jack 8s, the jack 9's got there, and the only hands I haven't really got there is like the jack 9s that aren't of any particular suit, which I don't think should double barrels. Basically, it's just a dreadful card for our hand, but it's one we should get away from. And I did tank a lot because no one likes folding trips, but we eventually made the fold. And she said in the chat she had pocket 8s, and then I later posted, because she's in the Facebook group, this player, I posted the video of this hand to Facebook, and she showed me a screenshot. She did have pocket 8, so I was really pleased with that fold. I'm not in these games to fucking dick around and get into pissing contests with other regulars. Other regulars try to do that with me. I usually just take the soft option in a lot of these situations and just let them push me around a little bit. I don't care about getting in these contests with regulars. I'm in tables most of the time with lots and lots of fish, and they're my targets. If regulars want to get a little bit out of line against me, then fine, they can do. I'm not that arsed, unless they're getting so far out of line that they make themselves exploitable, which not many do. I'm just not into like creating really aggressive dynamics with other regulars when we're at a table with 3 or 4 fish. Certainly not versus players like this type regular, who I think's definitely an up-and-coming player. We'll probably be playing higher stakes sooner rather than later. And yeah, good luck to her. But I'm really pleased that we found the fold there. On to the last hand. This one's just a bit more of a fun one. Again, this one's just going to expose just how important it is to get into really soft games with some really bad players. Seat 1 was that we should have tagged him. He's an absolute maniac of the highest order. Seat 3 is some kind of regular, and his name is kind of a tribute to Daniel Negreanu. If you think of what Daniel Negreanu does for a living and his dietary habits, and you might be able to know who this player is. I think he's a regular. I'm not sure how good he is. I don't think he's terrible by any stretch, but I'm not sure he's that good either. I don't know. But anyways, we have 2 aces, so how hard can life be? We 4x here, and I think we could have even gone 5 or 6x, because this player was just off the charts. It was like 4 in the morning by now. This guy was just playing every fucking pot. 3-bet, 4-bet, call in. It was fucking bonkers. He was making for a really good game. You can see by the stack. I mean, these stack sizes could be out, especially on this guy. This guy could have put a lot more money than this. I just didn't put his stack size in because he's not relevant. He's not in the hand. But as you can see by our stack, I mean, we've done really quite well at the table. I think this guy might have had some chips too. This guy was just throwing chips around. So we 4x it, and if I'd have gone 5 or 6x, I wouldn't have hated it. This guy clicks it back. The weak regular calls in the blinds. We pump it right up because this guy's going nowhere, absolutely nowhere at this point. You know, maybe our sizing's on the bigger size, but I just don't think. I didn't think he was folding. I thought we could induce a jam with this size. He might just make some. He probably will make some fucking horrendous calls. You know, maybe this guy comes along too, and we just leave ourselves like a really easy like jam on the flop, on like any flop. If these guys both call, it's just shut your eyes and jam the flop time, because you know the pot's going to be almost like. I mean, if they both come along, we're going to have like a pot size bet left, and that's it. So this is going to play out really easily. We actually get 2 callers, which I think I have no idea what this guy's doing, but we get 2 callers. I could really stop him wet board, checks to us. We just have the jam now. I mean, there's nothing else for us to do other than jam. He calls. I was very glad to see him fold. And then he turns up with a 9-3, and there you go. He had 30% equity still, which is absolutely fucking soul destroying sometimes. And imagine, I mean, this is the thing that can drive people fucking crazy sometimes. Like if he just like binks, whatever he can bink there, a 5 or a 10, you know, you're going to be fucking horrified with the situation. You're going to be fuming. It happens, you know, these really bad players, they end up flopping hands that they've no business flopping, and then getting all the money in with like 25-30% equity, and guess what? They win 25-30% of the time, despite the fact they played the hand fucking horribly. When they call on these flops, they're going to have some equity, and when you lose to them, don't do the following things. Don't quit the table thinking, oh, fucking hell, I can't beat these fish. I want to go and find some people who play proper poker. Don't do that. Don't call a man a cunt in the chat box, you know, when they win. Tell them nice hand, you know, be nice to them, whatever. You don't want this guy fucking off. If he's just beat you in a pot, you've still got like a 60 blind, a 200 blind stack, and so's he now. It's an incredibly profitable situation for you. Don't do anything to fuck it up. I see so many people fucking it up, quitting tables, fucking abusing the fuck out of the fish, and when the fish finally go broke, they're there, please reload, please reload. These people are some of the most monumental cunts in poker. I started the video accepting that I'm a cunt in some ways, but I'm in no way. You've got to, you know, you've got to treat your customers well, and you know, when you get in these situations and you're playing these like really big pots with really big whales, and they're getting it in with 25-30% equity and winning sometimes, as they're entitled to do, don't throw your fucking dummy out of the pram. Be a man, be mature about it, accept it's part of the game, be delighted these players are in your games, and just fucking enjoy the ride. You know, are these videos bad for poker that I do? I don't think so. Am I a bit of a dick with certain people? Fucking absolutely yes, and I will continue to be a dick with certain people. But nothing I do is as dickish as the way some of the bad regulars on Sky treat some of the worst players you can imagine ever seen. So if you are a bad regular on Sky watching this, stop being a twat with the fish, because you're just cutting everyone's bottom line, you fucking bellends. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there on that note. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Any comments, questions, please leave them below. If you want to get in touch with me about getting some help with your game, all my contact details are below the video. I hope to hear from some of you soon. Have a great week, everyone. Take care, and bye bye for now.